Hello, welcome to VO Journey Academy Live. It's
Happy
Monday.
Monday.
Hello, happy Monday, everybody. My name is Anthony,
I'm Gabby. Good to see you
and
guys.
good to see you. We are trying, as always, to be voice actors.
We're
Yes,
not trying. What are you trying? You're so funny.
humbleness. I don't know.
I have thoughts on this. Hold on. I'm going to
Uh-oh.
let you finish your intro and then I'm going to hijack this because I think this is a great topic.
All right, look at that. You never know when lightning is going to
Never
strike.
know.
Well, listen, if you are just starting out, Ben, it's good to see you. You're just starting out here with us. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button, as
Mm-hmm.
well as that bell notification. So when we do go live, you get notified.
Yeah.
All right, Gabby, what sprung to your mind?
So,
My funny tidbit in that.
so a couple things because we do have a question that Ben posed on Friday that we are going to address today. But I do think this is fascinating. You said we're trying to be voice actors. And something that I have seen over the years, right? And I find this really interesting is that a lot of new voice actors are very hesitant, right? To say that they are a voice actor or to call
Mm,
themselves a professional. And I
mm,
have always said that is a tricky thing
mm,
because, okay, granted, you know what you feel in your heart, what you're feeling in your
yeah.
head, right? It may not match yet, but people take you at face value, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you introduce yourself to somebody and they say, "Hey, what do you do for a living?" and you say, "I'm a voice actor," they're not going to challenge you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nobody's going to go bullshit. They're going to go, "Oh, that's cool. Tell me about it."
Yes.
Right? Like
Yes.
any other job. So I always feel like we owe it to ourselves to lead a little more confidently, right? And take ownership of this profession that we're a part of, right? Whether we're a part of it day one or day, right? Like,
Oh my goodness, that is
yeah,
too funny.
yeah.
All
So
right,
just
I
keep that
like
in
it.
mind. Yeah.
Okay, all right. I didn't realize you had such thoughts on this,
I
but it is a
do. I do.
good.
I feel
It
very
is
strongly
good.
about it. I'm
Yeah.
like, we should always like, right, very confidently, comfortably own the title and walk in. Yes, I'm a performer. This is what I do. I'm a
No
voice
doubt.
actor.
No doubt.
And let that knowledge lead us where it may as we interact with people. Anyway,
I love it.
so
Drop the mic. All right. Well,
yeah.
don't drop our mic. We can.
No, don't drop. Please
Don't
don't
drop
drop
our
the
mic
mic. No. We
because
love
we
you.
are voice
We
actors and we
we
don't drop
are.
mics.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't care
Metaphorically,
if you've
people.
been at it for a
Metaphorically.
day or yeah,
Metaphorically.
1,000 years.
All right. So, as you were saying,
Mhm.
we had a great question on Friday,
Mhm.
right? So kind of lead us off on this
Yeah.
one.
So I wrote it down. So Ben was asking us, should we cold call potential clients? And he was saying, you know, I've heard mixed things. And yeah, I think we all have. I think that yeah, we've all heard mixed things about that. And I think the discussion of cold calling is an interesting one and definitely something to explore. So
Yes.
what are your thoughts, Anthony?
Yeah. So, first off, I think that at this point, especially with where we are with everything, anything that you can do, this is just my opinion, that brings you closer to a real
Mm,
human interaction is a very good thing. Because I feel like, the more it's funny, the more connected we are, we're more connected than we've ever been in the history of humankind.
yes.
But yet, most of us feel we're more disconnected than we've ever been before. Because I think as humans, we really do desire that physical proximity or
Mhm.
that actual real voice or real connection.
Yeah.
And I do think that cold calling, even though, it is, I think what happened with cold calling is many of us can remember, and I remember being young and we all probably remember those days where our parents or grandparents. We were at the dinner table and someone, a telemarketer called, and our grandparents were like, "What are you calling me for at dinner?" My grandfather was infamous for just going off on people, Um, and it kind of got ingrained, I think, in a lot of us, especially us older folk, where it's like we just don't want to bug people, and it's just not nice, and nobody wants, And I think the reality is that don't forget, we've talked about this at length here. We are businesses, and we are contacting, or we should be contacting other businesses. So if you work, at your other job, when someone else calls you at your other job, or you pick up the phone or whatever, you're not like, "How dare you call me?"
It's definitely not grandpa at dinner, right?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I'm telling you, my grandfather was something else, man. But I'm saying that, I think I know for me, and I'm just assuming that others feel like this. I'm just intruding. It's not what I should be doing. But if you think about it, it's one way that other businesses can learn about us and find out who we are. And and I will say this, it's the best way, in my humble opinion, if you can get through, because that's one thing, if you can get through, to really find out once and for all, is that business, are they actually hiring voice actors? Is there someone there who is the actual person who works with them? I mean, if you look at all the things we have to do just to get that information, calling and getting that information, if we can, is the most straightforward way to do it, and the fastest. Even though it can be a challenge, just like email, getting someone on the phone. But I would say that I love cold calling. I am all for it. So that's my spiel. What do you think?
Well, I think there's a little bit of history here, right? For people in our generation and older, this was the only option, right? When we got started in the workforce, email was at its infancy and text message didn't exist. And this was how you communicated. So I feel like our generation and older generations were better prepared for phone calls. We were taught it, right? Like, it was etiquette. Like, you were taught how to speak professionally and how to have a business conversation. And if you weren't taught it in school, certainly it was something your parents brought to your attention, or your early bosses.
That's a good point.
Now, the younger generations, this is again where it's so fascinating, because it's like you said, we're more connected than we've ever been. But that etiquette, that professionalism has somewhat gone out of fashion, right? And I feel like younger people are very intimidated by the telephone. They're very afraid of it. They don't like to talk on the phone. They are intimidated by the business side of it. So there's kind of an irony here, right? Because if you want to be a voice actor and you want to be a professional speaker, it would logically say that you like talking to people, but that's not always
it's not always the case. Yeah.
So there's some interesting, pieces to that puzzle. I do think approach is really important. I think when we hear cold call, or when we hear sales call, we have a very negative view of what that means. And a lot of us go to this place of like, oh, it's going to be smarmy and it's going to be weird. And I have to have an elevator pitch and I have to follow all these rules. And that's not entirely true. I think that a cold call doesn't have to follow some weird formula that doesn't sit well with you. Instead, change the name, right? I don't call them cold calls. I call them fact-finding calls, right? Some people call them introductory phone calls. Like, whatever you want to call them, call it that. And without a doubt, and again, in my humble opinion, the best way to get a conversation started with the person on the other end, like Anthony said, if you can get through the voicemails and everything else, and please leave a message, don't be that weirdo that just hangs up and just leave a message, that's so common now.
Click.
Everybody calls and
You're
hangs up.
breathing on the other
Yeah,
end of the
yeah.
line. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. But definitely pose it from the standpoint of, like, if I was calling Anthony and I didn't know him, I might go, Anthony, I've heard about your company, or, I've been familiar with it for a little while. Can you help me out with a couple of questions? Can you help me with some information? And that is always, right, the best way to get the other person talking, to disarm them, and to not have them feel like, oh God, this person's trying to sell me something, or, oh, they're trying. No, whenever you call anybody and you're like, hey, I've got a couple of questions for you. Do you have a minute to help? The person on the other end totally switches gears because they're in business mode, right? And nobody's going to be rude to a potential customer or contact. That would be really poor on their part. So, yeah, you just sort of take it from that standpoint of, I'm a voice actor. This is what I do. I'm wondering if this is something you guys do. Do you have a contact internally in the office? Is there somebody who handles this? Could you direct me to that person? I always
I
love,
was usually, yeah. Good.
yeah, the follow-up, of course, that I always love is, if they tell you they outsource, amazing. Can you tell me who? Can you lead me to that person?
Oh yeah.
Do you
Oh yeah.
have their information handy?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I love the same thing. So what I like to do is I like to when I call, I'll be the first thing I just say, hey, I'll say my name. You know what I mean? I actually say, hey, I'm a voice actor in such and such district. I know I've been following your company, and I was
Yeah.
actually just calling to see if I could speak to the person who works with voice actors. And I like that question right off the bat because it's a yes, like it's a sure, that's Bob or that's Sally, or no, we don't work with voice actors. Oh, so right off the bat, like the fact finding that
Yeah.
you're talking about, it's absolutely true. I mean, we're trying to figure out first and foremost, does this business or company actually work with voice actors?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if they say, yeah, Sally does that, I'd be like, hey, great. Can I talk to Sally? And they're sure. Hold on a second. Or Sally's not here right now. You can leave a message. Or yeah. And then they click Sally, say, hi, Sally. Something. And I'm like, hey, Sally, my name's Anthony. I'm a voice actor. I've been following your company. I was wondering, are you guys happen to be adding voice actors to your roster? Right. And it's a very disarming type of question because we're not asking them to hire us. We're not asking them to give us some sort of life information or
Right.
social security number. We're just asking if they're in. And if they do say, yeah, I get the majority of the time I get, hey, we're always looking for some new talent.
Right.
Always something, sure. And I'm like,
Right.
hey, could
And
I
then
get
it's,
your
can I
name and
send you my
email?
demo?
Right.
Right.
And
Exactly.
then that is, so now you've not only figured out that they do accept or they do work with voice actors and they hire them, you've now gotten their direct permission to email them, right? And I mean, we have to go, when you cold email, when you do all this other stuff, you have to go through so much just to get permission.
Yes.
To email them, and most of the time we don't get that permission because we don't even know we gotten through to the person who actually makes the decisions.
Yeah.
So I love that. And then if they say no, that's that's wonderful. You've figured out that, and you didn't have to send 50 emails trying to get a hold of someone and be like, gosh, I wonder if they're just holding out on me.
And the other thing is, it's so much easier to ignore an email. We all know that. It's so easy to ignore it. It's so easy to overlook it. But it's funny, your level of excitement about a no is something that I've noticed over the years in friends who are in sales, right? Salespeople are like, give me a no. I love a no. Like, give me all the no's. And you go, why? Why would you and they go, because the no keeps me from wasting my time.
Yes.
And it gets me one step closer to the yes.
Right.
And so, yes, no's are actually great because then you don't have to worry about that, right? You kind of strike them off your list. You don't bother them again.
It's funny. It's interesting because I can remember we've all experienced this. If you think about how long you've been in voiceover and doing voiceovers, I remember starting out and really wondering if there was enough people out there to actually hire me. I remember
Mm,
when it first, we all feel that way. I think
hmm.
is there enough, like when you first start, because you have that imposter syndrome, you have that
Interesting.
worry that, hey, maybe I'm just not, there's not enough people that are maybe, or enough people willing to hire me because maybe I'm just not that good. And then maybe you get a job or you get a buy and you be like, gosh, there's just no business. Where's the people? There's not enough people. When you do this long enough, and you get work and you get work and then you realize that you don't get some work, but you continue to get work. You realize there's so much work out there, and there's so many people in this world that could possibly hire you. It takes, I'm not going to lie, it takes a little while, but you realize that it is literally a numbers game.
Mhm.
And that's why getting a no is exciting, because that's just another number you check off the list. Because I promise you, out of the 6 billion people or whatever in this world, there are plenty of people to hire you to live a fantastic life. Our job is we just have to get to them,
I
right? And
think
keep
it's
going.
yeah, that's really fascinating because when people talk about, obviously I'm from New York, right? They talk about the New York hustle. I think that that's part of where that stems from is that New Yorkers and people from other large cities, we see the masses, right? We see the numbers, and so we don't think like that. We don't
Mm,
go, "Oh, I wonder if there's enough people to hire me." We go, "Oh my god, there's so many people who could hire me. Look at all of them. They're right there."
mhm, mhm,
We're acutely aware of how much opportunity exists at any given time, and so that only makes us hungrier for it
mm.
because we're like, I know it's out there, I know. And every time I remember, in my early days, every time I heard a shitty voiceover, right? Or I
Mhm.
heard, like a crappy DJ, I would be like, "Oh my god, I could do that so much better."
Oh,
And
yeah.
it would fuel me, right? Because I was like, imagine if that person had found me first,
Mhm,
right? How much better it could have been. So
mhm.
so that was always like,
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
and I had to say, being around the theater, so, that's where I grew up in, and, when I started touring and then going to work at, bigger theater houses as well as, repertory theaters,
Mhm.
I started to learn that so much of the work that gets doled out or whatever is literally, I'm not kidding you, half of the time it's whoever is the person that's there or whoever they know. I'm not kidding. You'll have people who are like, I just, like, what's the secret? And I'm telling you, it'll blow
Show
your
up.
mind. I'm serious. Half of the time is, do you fit the costume? I got a lead role in a show because the lead actor, I was working backstage.
Oh my
Literally, I was working
gosh.
backstage at a theater in Little Rock, and it was a big show with a touring show too that came off it. And the lead actor literally got sick
Oh,
and
wow.
couldn't do it. And I was the only person. It was a big guy. I was the only person who fit the costume. So I ended up getting the lead role. And then I went on the tour because I got the lead role. But the point is that it literally was because I was there and I happened to fit the costume. Now, why do I bring that up? Because what I'm just saying is that you find out that it's not always the mystery that
Mhm.
we think it is.
Mhm.
A lot of times, sadly, it's us we're in the right place at the right time. You're making those calls, you're reaching out to people get to know you.
Yes.
You happen to be in the community where someone says something like that.
Yes.
That's part of, so the mystery really is, about, are you doing the activities
Yeah.
that get you
Yeah.
in front of people?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the same reasons why I'm always prompting. I'm like, if you're going on vacation, if you're going out of town, right? Holidays are coming up, you're going to travel and visit family, call some local studios, right? Just go, hey, is there like a 15-minute window I could come by and just see the facility and just, check out your studios and talk to you guys maybe in case I need a
Mm.
studio while I'm out of town. Just that. I mean, I've done that and I can't tell you how many times just because you're in the building, somebody's like, "Oh, we have this audition. Do you want to read for it?" "Yes, I do."
Well, that's the thing, it's so funny because I made me think about it. That was another thing that happened there was they came and there was a show on the other side of town that needed a light designer and someone to run the lights. Well, I was able to do that. So I agree. So I went and they at the time they were paying thousands of dollars. I got this job because I knew what to do and I just happened again to be there when they were like, hey, they need somebody. And you just again you find out that so much of this is yes, you have to be able to do it, of course. But once you do this enough, you realize, if you're in this, we can do it.
Yeah.
Okay. But the reality is are we putting ourselves forward with confidence?
Yeah.
I think that's another part of it is to have the confidence to be okay with, because I think a lot of people are like, well, what if I get a lot of questions. I don't know about you, Gabby, but people wondering, I don't know if I'm really ready to call people, or I don't know, I don't think I've done enough to send an email. I'm concerned that I'm, and that's the imposter that we're imposters.
Here it is.
You know what I mean? And so that is, I will admit there's a lot of people who have that worry. And I had that worry when I first started. You know what I mean? And it's interesting. What's interesting to me is when I got over that, nothing actually changed in my correspondence.
Right.
Like I didn't call and be like, by the way, I've done 500 voiceovers. I didn't say that.
Right. Right.
Right.
You
know what I mean? And so like when you actually go back and dissect it, it's more of a feeling that we have that can stop us. By the way, on a side note, I think it's funny what Dylan posted.
Oh, what did Dylan? Oh, yes.
Because you were so right, Dylan. We get have you been in anything? I mean, that is the number one question whenever I say I'm a voice actor. Have you been in anything you heard? And I'd be like, for God's sakes, man.
Yep.
But that's hilarious.
That's really funny.
Any systems that you've worked on that?
That's really funny.
Dylan, that is hilarious. Well, I think this is a great topic.
It is.
We kind of gave a little peek into some tactics that we use making the phone call.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk further and actually how to find numbers and how to do stuff. And also, I do think that it is true that if you are working a full-time job during the day, right, we don't really call in the evening,
right,
after work, because let's be honest, there probably people are not going to be at work. So if there is, you are working, there's going to be a finite amount of times you'll be able to make those phone calls, typically around a lunchtime or some when you have time off. That doesn't mean you can't, but it just means you have to, it is going to be what it is, right, with where you are right now, but you can still do it. You can still do it.
I think so. What a great, what a great way to start the week, Anthony.
Absolutely.
I love it. Tomorrow, of course, we will take a little mini hiatus because Angela will have her live at noon. So please join her. And we will be back on Wednesday.
Yes, but you wanted to mention.
Oh yeah, so we mentioned it last week. We're toying around with this idea of doing a $5 workshop, calling it $5 Friday or something similar. We just kind of wanted to get everybody's thoughts, feedback, opinions, whether or not that's something that they would be interested in participating in if we did a copy workout. Yeah. So let us know in the comments. Absolutely. And yes, please hit the like button.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, listen, thank you so much. I think we could do a poll. I just have to pull up.
Ooh, maybe we'll do a poll.
Yeah, I'll have to try it because I think we do a poll through YouTube. I'm not sure. But a poll would be nice. Ooh, cool.
All right.
Depending on tone. What do you think? What does that mean, Dylan? Very interested, depending on tone. Tone. Do you mean like what tone we ask you, or like the tone?
Oh, time. Oh, it was a typo. Time.
What is the tone of your feedback? I'm like, well,
what is the tone of this workshop?
I know.
That's really great. Time. Okay. That makes more sense.
That makes more sense. All right, you guys. So thank you so much. We love you all. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you on Wednesday. All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody. Goodbye. Goodbye.